takes everybody to build this land. The butcher and the baker and the grocery man. The man who owns them runs the train, and the farmer cutting wheat on the Kansas plain. The teacher, the preacher, the housewife and the sailor will all work behind the doctor and the tailor. They're working in the city while we're working in the woods, and we'll all work together to deliver the goods, and we'll all work together to deliver the goods. It takes everybody to build this land. And we all depend on people we've never even met. We depend on all kinds of specialists we never even see, making our clothing, building our houses, and getting us food. And that's where I come in. See, I'm a farmer growing my own food, helping to feed the city nearby. Folks think I'm independent. For instance, the other day when I rode into town with a wagon load of vegetables, I met two old friends, Tom and Jane. They think I'm the most independent man they ever knew. Tom and Jane said they were going to be farmers because they wanted to be independent. Well, farming's a good life, but I had to explain. Nobody can be independent these days, not even a farmer.
I'm going to have a farm just like you. I'm going to raise my own food, and I'll be just as independent as you.
Well, now, wait a minute. Just raising your own food isn't enough. I'm not independent. I depend on lots of people. For instance, today I'm depending on my shoemaker to fix my shoes.
Well, we mean pioneers, like in the olden days.
Yeah, I'm going to build my own out of logs.
And I'm going to make all my own clothes.
Well, now, look, now, my grandfather and grandmother came here as pioneers, and that isn't the way they told it. Tell you what, you get on the wagon, and I'll tell you all about it on the way home. Go on, up you go. Yes, sir. You just imagine that you were in this area while it was still dark and forest. My grandfather came here in his covered wagon, and believe me, he had to sing to keep up his spirits. Come, all you young fellers who have got a mind to range over this far-off country, your fortune to change. And we'll travel out westward with our hammer and our hoe. Through the wild woods we'll wander on the Ohio. Get up, boy, get up.
Get up.
Come, all you young fellas, whosoever wants to go, and we'll all settle down. Grandpa and Grandma decided to be pioneers because they wanted to be independent too. But right from the start, they had to depend on other people. Grandpa couldn't have cleared the forest with his bare hands. Somebody had to make an axe for him. Swing that axe, swing it fine, chip that trunk down the timber line. Grandpa depended on other men far away to dig iron and coal, to make it into steel and forge it into shape. Dig that iron down the mine, pound that steel till the axe blades shine. Swing that axe, swing it fine, chip that trunk on the timber line. There were a lot of men in the mines and at forges helping Grandpa when he swung that axe. Well, it was only by using tools made by somebody else far away that Grandpa could shape the forest into a farm. I will build a log cabin for to keep out the rain, and I'll carve out a plowshare for to furrow the plain. It was hard work, but they had to eat. A man can do without a lot of things, but not without food. With my feet in the furrow and the sweat on my brow and the sun on my shoulder as I follow the plow. It wasn't much of a plow, and every time it hit a stone, it broke. But it did open the earth, for planting the seed. Well, with Grandpa out getting food, Grandma could make other things they needed, like their clothing. And while you go out and hoe, I will sit at home and sew, and spin you out a kerchief on the Ohio. With the bobbin at the center and the treadle down below, I'll spin you out a kerchief on the Ohio. Yes, Jane, Grandma did make their clothing, but she also needed tools. And you'll weave me out a blanket on the Ohio. They couldn't have kept alive without any tools, but with tools, Grandpa and Grandma could carve a farm out of the wilderness and make things grow. A man needs a roof for a shelter and a shirt for to keep him warm. But most of all, a man needs food from the day he's born, so it's time for a shucking of the corn. It's time for a shucking of the corn. It's time for a shucking of the corn. Man needs food from the day he's born, so it's time for a shucking of the corn. With their tools, they could grow not just enough, but even more than they needed for themselves. And that's when they began to depend on even more people. You see, the work was hard because the tools were clumsy. Reaping wasn't easy with a short-handled sickle. One of the other farmers in the valley knew how to do good blacksmith work. So, Grandpa took some of the food he had left over to trade for a better tool. Just down the road there lives a man, a farmer with a blacksmith shop. He'll make a tool to speed my hand and help me raise a better crop. This part-time blacksmith promised to make Grandpa a long-handled scythe for some corn. By trading that way, Grandpa could spend more time at farming, because he didn't have to make his own tools. Now, the part-time blacksmith made good tools because he didn't have to spend so much time at farming. By depending on each other, they could grow more food and make better tools with less work. There's plenty more than we can eat. We'll share our crop with other farms. I'll trade the corn and sell the wheat and get a scythe to speed my arm. With the new scythe, Grandpa could swing wider and stronger when cutting down his grain. The better the tool, the more we can do, and the better we can do it. Well, before long, so many neighbors were trading with the part-time blacksmith that he could spend all his time at the forge. He became a specialist. For your cabbage, corn, or cow, he will trade a scythe or plow. The blacksmith is the man who does it all. Instead of the wooden plow that always broke, he made them a plow of iron. The furrows became deeper and wider. Oh, the work was still hard, but they were able to plow much larger fields and get more out of the soil. Well, better tools meant bigger crops, so some people could eat without growing their own food. They could do other things. That made it easier for the people who were still farming. For instance, they knew that other specialists were busy making shoes for them. For the cobbler is the man, the cobbler is the man, summer, winter, spring, and fall. Though your boots may crack and wear, he will keep them in repair. The cobbler is the man who shoes them all. Though your boots may crack and wear, he will keep them in repair. The cobbler is the man who shoes them all. They knew that other specialists were making houses for them, good shingles for their roof. With the mallet in his hand and the shingle on the stand, the carpenter's the man who builds it all. Yes, the carpenter's the man, the carpenter's the man, summer, winter, spring, and fall. For a sack of wheat or more, he will make a roof or door. The carpenter's the man who builds it all. And so, Grandpa and the other farmers and the cobbler and the blacksmith got better houses and better shoes because a specialist does a better job. The people who specialized live near each other, by the banks of the river, where the water wheel could give power for machines. A small town grew up. If you think about it, you'll see that's what towns and cities are, places where specialists work and trade. Yes, people who trade with each other depend on each other. The cobbler made his own shoes. The carpenter built his own house, but each did only a part of getting his own food, clothing, or shelter. Well, the town grew bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like a tree growing. It starts from the roots like we started from the soil the farmer tilled. As the earth gave more, we were able to grow away from the soil just the way a tree grows away from the roots. The way that the tree grows out of the ground is the way that the city grows out of the town. The men at the machine, the workers with the skill, they're a-building up the city round the factory and mill. Now the chimneys are smoking to give us all a sign. 1,000,000 men are working on the factory line. They come from the plains, from the mountains and the woods, and they all work together to deliver the goods. Millions of specialists living side by side. And none of them gets his own food or clothing or shelter all by himself. Yes, we've been able to grow farther and farther from the soil. But as I keep saying, a man always has to eat. A man needs a roof or a shelter, and a shirt for to keep him warm. And a man needs a meal at the tabletop, and our roots still need the soil. It's only because we have powerful tools like my tractor that we farmers can grow enough food for all those millions of city specialists. The farmer is the man, the farmer is the man, summer, winter, spring, and fall. When the springtime comes around, he goes plowing up the ground. The farmer is the man who feeds them all. In the springtime and the fall, when the corn is growing tall, the farmer is the man who feeds them all. Yes, the farmer is the man, the farmer is the man, summer, winter, spring, and fall. He comes a-riding into town with his wagon loaded down. The farmer is the man who feeds them all. He comes a-riding into town with his wagon loaded down. The farmer is the man who feeds them all. We farmers supply the food for the city markets. Grandpa supplied food for the cobbler, so he could spend all his time making shoes. The cobbler made the whole shoe, the form, the sole, and the upper. And he knew the man who wore it. But it's different now. Today, our cobblers work in factories, and they are a different kind of specialist. Each of them makes only part of a shoe, and it takes hundreds of people just to make one shoe. But these hundreds can make more in a day than the cobbler could make in a lifetime. That means I'm depending on hundreds of cobblers for just one pair of shoes. Yet these factory specialists make all these shoes for people they never even see, people I depend on, people in all walks of life. For instance, the fishermen, bringing in their catch, their scaly gold. Our ships are in, the fish are caught, the cargo's on the shore. We'll dump our catch upon the docks and then sail back for more. With the blowy winds in the morning, blowy winds high-ho, fill the hold with scaly gold and blow, blow, blow. It's first unload the fish we stowed that once swam down below. And when they're stored, we'll climb aboard and back to sea we'll go. With the blowy winds in the morning, blowy winds hi-ho. Fill the hole with scaly gold and blow, blow, blow. I couldn't be bringing in the crops if they weren't bringing in the fish, supplying not only me, but the other workers I depend on, like the workers in the clothing factory, turning out clothes. Workers whose job is divided among specialists the way the cobbler's is today. Instead of Grandma making a dress by herself, thousands are working at making dresses, suits, and clothes. Working on the clothing, working all the day, cutting and a-shaping and a scissoring the way. Put them on the presses and you press them carefully, working in the clothing factory. Dresses, coats, and trousers, make them carefully, working in the clothing factory. And for the buildings we have nowadays, you can't just call in a carpenter like Grandpa did. We need thousands of specialists just to cut the timber and get it to the sawmill. Timber, timber, man, that timber's gonna roll. Timber, timber, man, that timber's gonna roll. It takes a PV hook in a redwood and a 10-pound chain on a pine and a sawmill down by the river just to get that timber down the line. Calling timber, timber, man, that timber's gonna roll. Timber, timber, man, that timber's gonna roll. Now you take a lumber yard in the city and a pulley spinning up on high and a good strong haul up a red brick wall just to heist that timber to the sky. Why, I'm even depending on other farmers far, far away, harvesting wheat on the Kansas plains to feed the people I depend on. Miners and workers in the machine factory and lots of others. You see, Tommy, with the tools we have today, farmers all over the country can produce great surpluses. These tools get their strength not only from the arms of a man, but from coal and gasoline and electricity. And thousands of men have to spend their time making the tool where only a few made Grandpa's axe or his scythe. For a tool like my tractor, you need miners who spend all day digging out tons of coal and iron. We need factory workers who mold that iron into shape and put it together to build tractors for farmers all over the country. Working on the tractor, working all the day, turning out the motors to gather up the hay. You bolt the frame together and you heist it carefully, working in a tractor factory. Set them on the axle, careful with the wheel, rubber bolts and copper, wire, iron and steel, rivets, chain and hardwood, heavy as can be. We're all working in a tractor factory, turning out a tractor just for me. So you see, all these powerful tools help me to produce more food so I can feed the people who make them. Whoa, whoa, boy, whoa! Hey, you're home right now. Come on, over you go.
In other words, it doesn't matter what job I have. Everybody's depending on me.
That's right, and you'll be depending on all those other people just to keep doing your job.
Sure, when we work, we're all building together. It takes a lot of people to build this land, and everyone is lending a helping hand. The man who owns the mill and the man who runs the train, they're working with the farmer on the Kansas plain. In every city, the worker at the wheel is cutting out the clothing and a stamping out the steel. They're working in the city while we're working in the woods, and we'll all work together to deliver the goods. We'll all work together to deliver the goods.